Generation Y are renowned for being optimistic go-getters, yet many of them are financially uneducated and paralysed by debt. However, Gen Y are the investors of tomorrow, so financial advisors need to understand and engage them with simple and effective strategies. In this session, we'll describe Generation Y's unique characteristics compared with other generations, explain the financial planning issues commonly faced by Gen Y, and discuss financial planning strategies relevant for both Gen Y and their baby boomer parents. More from Emily Galal.
Generation Y are the driving force for tomorrow's economy. Born between 1976 and 1991, they're the children of the baby boomers. Michael McQueen, author and social researcher from the Next Gen Group, describes Gen Y.
They have very optimistic, upbeat expectations around what they deserve, what they're going to get paid, how high they will rise, the levels of authority and influence they'll have in the workplace.
Gen Y's attitude is at least partly attributable to the financial prosperity they've seen growing up. Australia's steady bull market over the past decade or so occurred during Gen Y's formative years. However, as Penelope Joy explains, now is an appropriate time to change their behaviour.
Well, while they're young and they have an ability to actually prepare for the future, that's much better than a wake-up call when you're in your 40s or in your 50s.
Generation Y aren't known to be very astute with money. The generation is defined by the words credit and debt.
1/3 of all the credit cards applied for in Australia last year, which was 3.7 million, ended up in the hands of 18 to 27-year-olds.
Baby boomers, on the other hand, have been the busiest with their careers. Peter Richards, of Centric Wealth, says many baby boomers have been willing to provide for their Gen Y children.
This group of baby boomers is also quite prosperous, so they've had the means to actually help their children, and they've done that. And to some respects, they've probably cushioned their children from reality.
Gen Y are quite happy to rely on bank boomer or bank mum and dad to help prop up their lifestyle, especially in this economic downturn, with tags such as helicopter kids, kidults, and boomerang kids who just keep coming back to their parents for help. Gen Y is fast becoming known as kids in parents' pockets eroding retirement savings, or kippers. Many Gen Y individuals tend to focus on the short term, and their poor budgeting and planning skills mean they have difficulty achieving their goals.
If you look at what made previous generations save, in many cases it was big ticket items. So if you looked at the parents of Generation Y, baby boomers, when, for example, they were setting up their lives, they would save, in many cases, for a really nice dining setting. They would save for a nice bed, and that would be expensive, big-ticket items that you would have to save for.
Gen Y seem comfortable with debt, holding the attitude that they'll get around to paying it off later. This is a stark contrast to previous generations who were very cautious about debt and believed in saving.
That sense of storing away money for a rainy day, delaying getting that consumer item because maybe the money will be better somewhere else, that imperative hasn't been there because times have been so good.
Financial planning is often focused around managing wealth that's already accumulated by an older clientele and those preparing for retirement.
It's probably fair to say most financial planners have got an older client base, maybe sort of people who are 50 and over. That's generalising, obviously. So if you can blend that part of your client base with having a Gen Y section within your client base, that actually gives you a much more rounded practice.
The global financial crisis has changed the way many of us now think about debt. Reducing non-productive debt can be done via debt management strategies, such as credit card consolidation and paying off purchases already made on credit. And when making repayments, an easy and fast method is to automatically transfer money from wages. Scott Haywood and Peter Richards give their suggestions on alternatives to credit cards.
One of the best things banks have introduced in the last few years has been what's known as a debit card. And introducing a Visa or a MasterCard debit card means that Generation Y individual thinks they're using credit, but they're actually not using credit because they're using their own funds.
We've structured that for many families, where instead of paying 18% on a credit card, we can sort out some family loan, if you like, where they're sort of 7 or 8%, and that can be a win-win for parents as well.
With cash flow management, the fundamental rule is to not spend more than you earn. Spending habits should be analysed to determine what's considered necessary spending and what's discretionary or frivolous spending.
I've actually got a lot of clients who actually call themselves the family ATM. That's all they tend to be doing. There's families are rolling out wads of cash to their kids.
Too much parental assistance with money matters can prevent financial independence and will fail to equip Gen Ys with the skills to manage assets, particularly those they might inherit. It might also create a scenario where a Gen Y becomes reliant on others for help beyond their 20s.
Men and women are living longer and longer, so it is short-sighted to say, well, I'm just going to live for today and I'm going to have whatever I want, and I'll deal with tomorrow, because we do know that the age pension is very difficult to live on.
Notorious for frequent job changes, Gen Y might have varying levels of income throughout the years, suggesting that a Gen Y client tries to save a percentage of their wage per month rather than a fixed amount could be effective. Wealth creating options other than bank deposits, such as investing in property or shares, shouldn't be eliminated, even for